Anyone can say, "I care about you." Anyone can say, "You mean a lot to me." Words are free, and in the early stages of dating, words are often exactly what people say to keep your attention, whether or not the feeling behind them is fully real. So how do you actually know if his feelings are real, and not just something he's saying in the moment? Today, we're breaking down 3 specific signs rooted in psychology, not guesswork, that reveal whether a man's feelings for you are genuine or just words that sound good. Let's get into it. Before we dive in, let's talk about why words alone are such an unreliable measure of feelings. Psychologists who study deception and sincerity point out something important. Verbal expressions of feeling require almost no cost to produce. Saying, "I really like you" takes 2 seconds and no real effort. But feelings that are genuinely real tend to show up in behavior that costs something: time, effort, comfort, ego. That's the thread connecting all 3 signs we're about to cover. Each one involves a behavior that would be very hard to sustain if the underlying feeling wasn't actually there. Let's start with the first one. The first sign is this: his effort stays consistent even after the early, trying to impress you phase fades. In the beginning of almost any relationship, effort is easy. There's novelty, excitement, and a natural motivation to make a good impression. This is true for genuine feelings and for shallow interest alike, which is exactly why the early stages can be so misleading. Everyone looks equally invested at the start. The real test comes later, once the newness wears off, once you're not a novelty anymore, once real life stress, routine, disagreements starts to enter the picture. If his feelings are real, his effort doesn't quietly disappear once he no longer feels like he needs to win you. He still texts first sometimes. He still plans things. He still shows up, not because he's chasing something new anymore, but because he genuinely wants to be there. If, on the other hand, his effort drops off sharply once the chase ends, once you've clearly shown interest back, once the excitement of pursuit fades, that's worth paying attention to. It doesn't necessarily mean his feelings were fake, but it often means they were more about the thrill of pursuit than about you specifically. Real feelings sustain themselves past the point where effort is required to win someone over. That's what makes this sign so telling, because it can only really be observed with time, which is exactly why it's harder to fake than words are. The second sign is willingness to be inconvenienced, to give up comfort, time, or convenience specifically for you. This doesn't mean grand sacrifices. It means small, real moments, rearranging his schedule to see you when it would have been easier not to, driving further than he needed to, staying up later than he wanted to just to keep talking, showing up when he's tired or when something more convenient was available instead. Psychologically, this matters because inconvenience is a natural filter. It's easy to make time for someone when it costs nothing, when your schedules happen to align, when there's nothing better going on. It's a different thing entirely to choose someone over comfort or convenience. When a man is willing to be a little inconvenienced for you, without resentment, without turning it into a bargaining chip, it reveals that you're genuinely a priority, not just a pleasant option when nothing else competes for his attention. This is also why words like, "I'll always make time for you" mean so little on their own. The real proof isn't the sentence. It's whether, in an actual moment where inconvenience and you are both on the table, he consistently chooses you. The third sign is perhaps the most telling of all. After a conflict or a mistake, his behavior actually changes, not just his apology. Almost anyone can say, "I'm sorry, I'll do better." Those words come easily, especially in the heat of wanting to smooth things over and avoid losing you. But real feelings show up in what happens after the apology, once the immediate pressure of the conflict has passed. If his feelings are genuine, you'll notice an actual shift. He stops repeating the specific behavior that hurt you. He checks in without being prompted. He makes a visible effort not to make the same mistake again. This requires real reflection and real motivation, because changing an ingrained behavior is genuinely difficult, and people generally only put in that effort for things and people that truly matter to them. If instead the same apology gets repeated for the same behavior over and over, with no real change in between, that's a pattern worth paying close attention to. Repeated apologies without corresponding behavior change often indicate that the apology is more about managing the immediate conflict than about genuine remorse or investment in the relationship. This sign matters so much because it combines two things at once. It shows he cares enough to notice he hurt you, and it shows he cares enough to actually do the harder work of changing, rather than just saying the easier thing in the moment. Let's bring it all together. 1. His effort stays consistent even after the early, trying to impress you phase fades. 2. He's willing to be inconvenienced for you, choosing you over comfort or convenience without resentment. 3. He changes his actual behavior after a mistake, not just his apology. Each of these signs shares the same underlying truth. Real feelings show up in behavior that costs something, sustained over time. Words are easy. Consistency, sacrifice, and real change are not, which is exactly why they're so much more reliable. If this video gave you a clearer way to tell the difference between real feelings and empty words, that's exactly why this channel exists. We explore the hidden psychology behind love, attraction, and human behavior, the patterns that are true, but rarely explained clearly. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we release new psychology and relationship insights every week. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 3 signs resonated most with your experience? Drop a comment and let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.